All right. There we go. So just checking. Yep. Okay, good. All right. You get these little sound things. It's all live. You're like, oh my God. Live from Denver. It is Friday night. Welcome to Critical Conversations. Yes, there we are. For what is today? November 3rd.
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord, 2023. Hey, everybody. Glad you're here. And as you can see, I am joined this week by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
We're very happy to be with you. Hey, everybody. What a day to be alive. What a week to be alive. What a time to be alive. May you live in interesting times and all of those things. Yeah?
Well, I could deal with a few less interesting things,
I could probably use a few less interesting things in my life these days as well. However, you were not here last week because you were partying hard in Vegas. And so the burning question I'm sure on everybody's mind right now is what happens in Vegas? Does that stay in Vegas?
I mean, there wasn't anything worth really being worried about staying in Vegas, but
no guilty sins or pleasures or
it was a good time. I went with my friend to Vegas, a little girl's trip, and we got to go see Billy Idol at the Chelsea at the Cosmo. And that was awesome. That guy, for being almost 70, is still rocking it. His voice is still there. He took off his shirt and still had abs. I'm like, what is this?
You can move over a little bit. We got you pushed in the corner here. It's kind of funny.
Okay.
This way.
Oh, this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's still rocking it. We went up to the top of the Strat. We went and got some of the most amazing tacos. They were like slicing the ham off just like this big, huge slab of ham.
Like they do in
Fresh.
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Fresh.
And what else did we do? We went and hung out on Fremont Street. Got to listen to some music. We didn't really gamble. We're not really gamblers, so I maybe gambled 10 or 20, and she gambled like 20 or 30. That's about it. Dollars, that is.
So you didn't get dragooned into an Ocean's 8 style girl heist?
No.
Damn it.
Not that I can tell anybody about. No.
Yeah, exactly. Not that we can say. Well, we know she didn't gamble the house away because we're still here.
Yeah.
Still broadcasting. So very happy to have you back, baby.
I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, I really like it when you're here.
Aww.
I do. Okay, now, did you bring a quote of the week?
I did.
Okay, what do we got for this week?
All right, so on the topic of protests, this is from Elie Wiesel. I'm saying it all wrong, but there may be times when we are powerless to prevent injustice, but there must never be a time when we fail to protest.
There you go. And I would absolutely echo that sentiment, as you will hear me do tonight. I will have a little monologuing to occur in a few minutes, but that is great. And that is absolutely true.
Yeah, I mean, you have to stand up for what you believe in. You just have to. You
do. Because if you're waiting for everybody else to do it, well, you'll be waiting for a real long time, Okay. So we have some Snuggles Not Struggles cam for you. Let us turn on the Beast cam here. This is actually, like I said, our Snuggles Not Struggles. There is our little Benson, our little furry bundle of joy and love, kicking it there on the living room couch, as you can see, with a little bat piggy in the background there.
Yeah. He's just so cute. Look at that face.
Just sitting there, chilling.
He's getting fluffy.
Oh, so fluffy.
It's been, 2 months since he had a haircut?
Has it been?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, he's probably going to get a little shaggier before the winter is over. Now, we're just getting started with the cold coming in. It's warming up a little bit now this week, but I think it's supposed to go back to cold next. We'll see. But there he is, totally chilling. You're seeing him in chill mode here right now. This is how he tends to get in the mid-afternoon and late at night when he's not in full-blown hyper mode. This is the opposite of that.
Hyper mode is in You can't get him on camera very easily.
No, he kind of absolutely loses his mind sometimes. Like when he will poke his head out there if a delivery guy or the mailman comes or something, it's territorial.
You'll be like engrossed in your show or whatever you're looking at on your phone, and then all of a sudden the dog is sitting behind you on the couch and he just loses his mind and starts barking, and it scares the crap out of you.
Oh, last night I thought I was going to jump out of my skin. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, Fort Collins got some snow. We got some snow right here. We got snow in Denver as well. Yeah, anyway, Benson he can be incredibly loud, incredibly quickly, which is really kind of startling sometimes.
And he has a louder bark than you would expect for his size. Like sometimes he does a little dog high-pitched bark, but his bark is louder than that, and so it's a little startling.
Yeah, exactly. Is the Mickey Mouse Club a destructive cult? Well, I don't know. Brittany might think so. I don't really know.
I bet she thinks her family is a destructive cult.
Yeah, I'll bet that's true. I'll bet that's true. I'll bet you there's a lot of stories on all ends of that equation.
I'm sure, yeah.
On that. Let's see here. Things to discuss this week. I had a pretty chill week by design, which was really nice, actually, after a few weeks of like frantic craziness. I've slowed down on posting to TikTok. I got that TikTok account, and it is hard, man, to reformat all my videos in that and get those uploaded as well as all the clips and everything. So it's been a little lacking. So I'll get back onto that because I got a bunch ready to go. If you're, following me on TikTok, of course, which I doubt most people here are doing right now. Anyway, just stuff I'm working on. But I'm very happy to now be thinking about and putting back on the front burner the tone scale video and dusting off that screenplay for the last 3 months where it's been kind of sitting because of this other stuff. So that's happening now, and that is very good. And just time for education and stuff. Got some really good podcasts coming to you guys over the next month, by the way. And it's looking like, following up on what I was talking about last week, that I'm probably taking December off, right? Like I did last year, where I took like a section of time off, like 3 weeks or a month or something. And I'm probably going to do that again in December. I figured December, I was starting to think about this a few months ago, and December tends to be like our slowest time. And
yeah, everybody's busy doing other stuff.
It's a very distracted time of the year for everybody, and watching YouTube isn't necessarily at the top of everybody's list. So I thought, well, of all the times, right, in the year where that's most obvious to me as a creator, that's probably the time to select, right? And it's not like I'm going on some vacation or something, although this time off will allow me to go visit the family and finally meet my niece, my brother's daughter. So I'm looking forward to that.
The pictures of her just in video are just adorable. She's so cute.
Oh my gosh, she's just a little jelly bean.
Yeah.
She's so cute. So I very much want to do that, have all that family time and family experience and everything. There's still, anyway, family. So there's that. Okay. And let's see, any other points I wanted to bring out? I just wish I could express to you guys, again, I know I said this before, and I'm not going to keep belaboring this point, but I really wish I could express to you, how much more organized and cleaner it is here in this room right now than it has been before. Now, the one with Tony, I will probably keep going. I don't plan on making Tony take December off. So that is actually, thanks for asking about that, Lori, because that is something I've been thinking about. And I'll probably keep that show going. I don't know, if I've got stuff in the pipeline or whatever in the queue for for my podcast. I suppose I could post those, but yeah, I'm looking at a break on the Q&A shows and on the Friday shows, right? Just like take the time and get out of town and do some stuff and maybe focus some attention for a few weeks on a project I really want to see if I can make some headway on. I'm not going to say a damn thing about it because I'm not going there because I always blow it when I do that. But, something like that, right? Is kind of what I'm thinking in my mind right now as I think about what I would do with my time. I don't want to spend all the time playing Stardew Valley.
Sure. I don't believe you.
They should. Nobody's going to pay me for this. This is not paid promotion, but I really, really love Stardew Valley. That is a game that I can just really play and have fun with. It's a very soothing, calming, enabling game. It enables you. It makes you feel like a regular, normal person who can do all these wonderful things.
Exactly. You're like, I can do this. I think that's why it's led so many people to try farming.
I'll tell you, and meet people and have and gift people things and just have relation. Anyway, it's a fun game. If you all don't have any idea what I'm talking about, it's like a $15 game.
It's really not expensive.
It's really cheap and it's just a little farming, mining, community game, and it's really laid back, and there's no dying in it, and there's no, death and destruction. It's just fun. So, but is it as good as Among Us? I
don't know what Among Us is.
I think it's better, but that's me. But it's not. But the other thing that we've been spending a lot of time enjoying is Scythe and Civilization games.
Board games. Yes.
Board games. Right. Been having a lot of fun with board games. We've been spending hours.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
Really can't recommend it enough. As a couple, with our friends.
And both those games make you think. You have to do good strategy and.
Yeah. Yeah, Scythe is a fun game. Anyway, I'm not going to keep going on because I'll need to get paid by these companies if we're going to keep going on about this.
I've been playing the old game Chrono Cross again. It's this RPG game, and I forgot how cool it was.
Climbing the bridge or something, yeah. Yeah, good times. So why don't we talk about protests? Let's go ahead and get into that. Have you ever been to a protest?
Oh, plenty, yes.
Yes?
Yes, I've, the first one I ever remember, I was 6 years old, and I went to a demonstration for Michael Dukakis with my mom and my grandma.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so I've been doing protesting for a long time. Yeah, and I went to protests growing up. I went to protests in college. I went to protests after college. So yeah, I've been to plenty of protests.
Been to plenty of protests. Well, I have been to Scientology protests, meaning I have been to and protested against the California state government and justice system for Scientology. When I was in high school, I went to protest with my dad. We drove down to LA, and then we drove up to Sacramento, and we protested at the LA County Courthouse, and then we protested up in Sacramento at the Capitol. Walked around, carried signs, religious freedom now, right? So I was not really savvy about what was going on. I'd barely done anything in Scientology, but it was a way to take some couple of days off of school, and it was a way to go express something I've never, go do something I'd never done before. So that's actually the only organized protest I think I've been to.
Wow. Yeah, I've been to so many. I mean, I've been to the Capitol and spoken to representatives and senators from the state level anyway, not necessarily federal level, but state level, about diabetes stuff. Yeah, I've done all kinds of stuff. My grandma used to run all these meetings for politicians and stuff to help get politicians elected. And
wow.
Yeah, so it's been a lifelong thing.
Well, not me, but I can say I was also at a protest a couple times at Big Blue.
Oh, wow.
When I was in the Sea Org, when I was on the RPF, and I was not at the protest. I was the subject of the protest along with everybody else there, right? We were being protested by Anonymous.
Okay.
And X-Sign asked how effective were those protests back in the day. They were very effective. And in fact, on reflection, when I first got out of Scientology and learned about the entire backstory of the Anonymous movement and how they had gotten onto Scientology's radar, or how they had targeted Scientology to start with, and why they were doing what they were doing and how it had all gone out. It clarified a great deal for me, because I'd been on the RPF for most of the time when they first started up what they were doing. And so all we saw were glimpses of signs and people outside and Guy Fawkes masks and wondering. And we weren't even briefed in like the rest of the crew were as RPFers. So we weren't obviously going out and talking to them or seeing them that much, because we were on the RPF. We didn't get a lot of outside time or unsupervised time to see things like that. But we saw it anyway, right? Because we would be in the stairwells. And I don't know if y'all know it at either end of the big blue sort of diagonal building, the one with the big Scientology sign on it. At either end of those buildings are stairwells, and they are open to the outside. So they're just wide open. There's not even windows. It's just open. And you can see outside. And so when we were going on the stairwells, because we couldn't take the elevators, we had to take the stairwells when we went anywhere. So we had an unobstructed view of the protesters down there. And they came around quite a bit for a year or two in PAC. And I would see these signs. And some of them would mention... Well, let me tell you something that's kind of interesting is I don't remember what most of the signs said, but I remember a couple of them because they made a difference in my mind when I saw them and thought about them later. And this was the very first time as a Scientologist, as a Sea Org member, that I had seen protesting live. I'd heard of protesters, but I'd never seen anything like this. And there were so many people protesting that, a couple times it was almost a continuous loop around Big Blue. There was a lot of people there. And it's hard to ignore that kind of thing or wonder what would cause all these people to come out. And your logic is strained as a Sea Org member and Scientologist, even when you're thinking to yourself, oh, thank you very much, Laura, for that super chat there. Your logic is strained to be able to explain all these people marching around because Big Pharma bought them pizza, right? This would be the extent of what we would hear about why Anonymous was
not
doing.
even paid them like tons of money, just bought them pizza.
Yeah, bought them pizza,
wow.
Right? And they were doing it for the lulz, right? Whatever that meant. And this was, it just didn't compute, right? And so it was, but here's what did compute to me as a Sea Org member on the base, not really understanding what was going on, not having a clue that it was about the Tom Cruise video. No idea that that's how this whole thing had sparked off. So, Tom Cruise didn't have anything to do with these protests as far as we were concerned. It was all Big Pharma. But where I want to go is that the signage made a difference on me right from the get-go in planting seeds. And the seeds that were planted were, when was the last time you saw your family? That was on one of the signs. And how much are you getting paid? Is it still a measly $50 a week? Something like that. There was something like that. And there was another... There were 3 signs. Those were the 2 subjects or concepts or thoughts I remember from what I saw was it has been a very long time since I've seen my family and seen my mom, and I am getting paid shit. And I know I'm getting paid shit. And I resent the hell out of the fact that I'm getting paid shit, but there's nothing I can do about it, right? And I have no money, just nothing. I got nothing, right? Like I got $100 in savings or something, right? And at this point on the RPF, I don't even have that. I got nothing. As an RPFer, you can't even carry around more than $20 on you at a time.
Wow.
You can't leave the base without that, right? So it was a very different setup from how people live. It's like a prison life. But I was really sick and tired of all those things. And so those signs and seeing those protesters and seeing that happening made a difference. And one of the things, of course, was seeing lots of people, and 1 or 2 or 3 protesters come around. You can write it off as some fringe lunatics or something, right? No matter what you're talking about. Doesn't matter. Good, bad, right, wrong. You agree with it, you don't agree with it. If just a few people show up, it's better than nothing. I'm not saying don't do it, but I am saying it's not very impressive. But when you get tens of people out, then you're starting to talk about enough people coming out of their homes, caring about this, spending time doing it, making signs, all et cetera, et cetera. Clearly something's up here. It's kind of funny, I guess. I'm not going to make that comparison. Anyway, it's just kind of it's just kind of a human thing that the more people you see, it's social proof is what it is. It's it's influence, and the more people are proving a thing or showing up for a thing, the more legit we automatically think that thing is. So that applies to protests for sure. But I thought that there might be a few things. There we go. I was just checking the time. So having seen all of that from the inside as my experience with Scientology protesting and protesters, I thought now we have Alex, Apostate Alex, over in the UK. And I don't know if you all caught the live stream that Tony Ortega and I did earlier with Alex right after. I mean, we talked to him right hot off of the protest, and it went great over there. From what we heard from Alex, if you haven't seen or heard, there were 40 or 50 or something protesters, maybe more. We'll have to get a number confirmed on that, but there were quite a few. It was not small. Oh, hey, Jeff, he's here.
Hey.
I think he was over there. Maybe Jeff can give us a count on, he said 46. Okay, good. So that's what we're looking at on that. Jeff actually went over there, which is awesome. And anyway, we had a great time talking to Alex. He was totally pumped. I both on and off camera, I have validated him up one side and down the other, because what he's doing and organized is extremely awesome. The way he has organized it, put it together, got the roads closed, got the police cooperation, kept it peaceful, kept it chill, didn't get violent or antagonistic, which we're going to get into. It was absolutely awesome over there. Yeah, he was definitely pumped. And apparently I think they're going to be doing stuff over the next 3 days there is what Alex indicated, is that they've got permits to continue activities. I think they're only going to be static, not being able to walk up and down the road or something. He'll probably provide, ultra detail on all of that. But as I understand it, they're going to be continuing this weekend. I told him to get some sleep. He's going to need it, because it's like midnight over there now or something. So I hope he's resting. He doesn't kill himself this weekend on this whole thing. But it came off about as perfectly as you would want it to come off. I'm, short of people on the Scientology side crossing over and joining the picket, the protesters, right? It was perfect. I mean, it was, and the signage. You'll see photos from the Daily Mail in the UK published today. We already saw the story, not only showing Tom Cruise's helicopter from every conceivable angle. There are so many pictures of this helicopter, flying in with bringing Tom Cruise in, but right along with those photos interspersed between them were Alex and all of the protesters and the like I said, the really high class signage and organization that he clearly put into it. So I really want, I'd encourage you all to check out Tony's video and or Alex's channel. I'm sure he'll have, he's got stuff on there and etc. It's a big event for the ex-Scientology world, this whole protest, and it's all Alex's brainchild. So hats off to him big time on having pulled that off. Now, I wanted to go over tonight in a more general sense, maybe, unless go ahead and throw any questions if you have any for me or Mel here in terms of this as we're going today. And I'm definitely interested in hearing from Jeff in the comments as well. How much would Tom Cruise be giving up if he left Scientology? A lot more than you guys might actually think. You know, if I have things right with how Tom Cruise sees and thinks about Scientology, and I think I do because other people, the way it's described by a number of other people who have interacted with him directly, it seems this is the case. That his whole, you know, sort of worldview and a lot of his identity is wrapped up in his Scientology idea of himself as an operating thetan who is conquering matter, energy, space, and time, and making his life a success as a result. And you know, by almost any metric you'd care to use, Tom Cruise's life is an amazing success story. So it's kind of hard to argue the logic of his internal logic with how he thinks about Scientology, rationalizing his life and his life decisions and the theta power that he brings to his projects, you know, this frenetic energy that he has, he will attribute to, you know, remember in Scientology, every single good thing that happens to you at any level of Scientology is because of Scientology. And anything bad that happens to you, you didn't, you know, is that, what did you do? What did you, you know, what did you messed up somehow. You faltered at the, you know, somehow. So, so I think if Tom Cruise were to leave Scientology, or what would he be giving up? He'd be giving up, you know, half of his own view of himself.
Okay.
Now, is that really so different? Is everything I just described really so different from every other cult member? Probably not, right? I have a hard time seeing how it would be so different. But what I will say is, it seems to me that Cruise's level of commitment to the Scientology belief set and to the principles and the attitude of it and all of that as he sees it, I think is as complete as it could be. You know, I'm pretty sure he's the guy who would take a bullet for Miscavige, right? And I know what that headspace feels like, right? It's like, it's a crazy place. So that's where I think he's at. Wow. Good. Seeing some of the comments here about Miscavige raving at Janet to get the protest stopped.
Yeah.
Good. Good. That's, by the way, Alex is going to need, I hope we're all super aware. I hope somebody else is saying this out loud, because I doubt Alex will, but he's definitely target number one on OSA UK's radar right now. I mean, if there was any question, right, there shouldn't be any question right now. Alex is definitely going to be targeted, and is being investigated by OSA, and they are looking into his deets, and they are probably starting to rifle through his trash and all that kind of crap. I hate to say all this, like it's such a certainty, but you know, he's messing with COB, and that's going to get you high on the wanted list real fast, like faster than anything else out there. So, so we need to support him in his efforts right now to make sure that he is kept safe and that he keeps himself safe as well. I know Alex is a perfectly competent and responsible adult. I'm not in any way implying or trying to infer that he can't take care of himself, but we are a community, and if we're going to be a community, then we need to look out for those of us who are seriously putting themselves in harm's way, and right now that is what he is doing. Make no mistake about that. Hey, it's a commercial. I have selected, I don't have a choice as to whether I can put commercials into my live streams, but I've selected the least, you know, intrusive one. So I just skip them when they pop up there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he is starting to speak up about it. Okay, good. Yeah, there's going to be more. It's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature of what Scientology is and does and how it reacts. So that's something to, I hope we're all being aware of. Now, I wanted to talk more generally, more broadly tonight about civil protests by ex-members of cults. in general, right? Because this everything we're talking about and thinking about with Scientology certainly applies with every other cult out there. I mean, there have been protests against the Moonies and against the Jehovah's Witnesses, and all these groups have protests, and of course, some of these groups are famous for their own protests, like the Westboro Baptists.
Yep.
But there are people who protest the protesters, right? So
Yes.
protesting is a thing. And it's not been a tool or a what do you call it, a social mechanism that I have particularly talked a lot about. So I thought, well, what better time to talk about it and to put my, John Atack recently pushed a video out about how he really wasn't in favor of these things. And I'm going to say I am coming at it from exactly the opposite direction myself. I am very much in favor of civil protests. I believe it's an inalienable right. It's one of our rights from our U.S. Bill of Rights that people have the right to peacefully assemble and protest things. And I would not want to see anything less when it comes to raising social awareness and various other things we'll go over here as to why it is that protesting is a really, really good idea. It's a sacred right that we have as in groups of us, as well as individually. And it is a right that we do not want to mess with. And which is why we get so on, like pins and needles when there is violence or antagonism or all this like negativity connected with protesting. People's emotions can get quite high. And protesting a cult is not the same thing as protesting low wages or protesting government litigation or legislation or something. You're protesting the fraud, the con, the deception, the abuse that this group has inflicted on yourself or on those you love or know or care about in some fashion. I think that would be pretty safe to say about any protester out there, is they care enough to show up, so something about this is important to them. And that thing that is important when it comes to cults is exposing the abuses, voicing opposition to them in a public, here I am, I want everybody to know what's going on here isn't okay. This is a necessary thing in our society. There are some people who just don't pay any attention until they see stuff like this.
Exactly. Or they just don't know to pay attention to it. They don't even know it exists.
Yeah, exactly. Lori, that's a great idea. And so I will formally invite Jeff right here. When you get back, we definitely should talk. I would love to interview you about the entire trip that you're taking right now when you get back. So I hope you contact me about that. Okay, so here's I actually papered it today, typed document. I'm doing my best Rush Limbaugh here. Oh, good. Okay, why civil protests by ex-members of cults can be beneficial for several reasons. One, raising awareness. Protests can help raise public awareness about the existence and practices of these cults. This can lead to increased scrutiny and potentially protective legislation. I don't know if y'all noticed, Australia has some coercive control legislation occurring right now. California has coercive control legislation passed through, all in the area of domestic violence, but believe me, it's a start. It's something better than nothing. As that term and as that concept makes its way through our legal system, through case law, through cases, not just through the law on the books, it will be interpreted and used, and we can hopefully start pushing it in the direction of cultic behavior.
Yes.
Complicated and difficult, not as easy as you might think it sounds to do that. But it needs to happen. It's not easy to prove in a domestic situation either. That doesn't mean we shouldn't do it or that we shouldn't have those laws on the books, right? So, yeah, Henny, it really is happening that we have this. And of course, the UK passed this into law through the entire United Kingdom or the United, through, I don't know. how that works actually, so I'll just say in England. But they did pass it there. We studied it, right? So that's that Home Security Act. I think it was 2017 where coercive control was part of a big bill of stuff that went through. So raising awareness through public action, through protesting, through, standing out loud and proud about this is obviously target number one. It's the main reason that people go out and do this. And they're trying to get attention, trying to get other people to see something's going on here that needs their attention. And they're unusual. When protests become usual, then nobody cares anymore, right?
Then it's not special. And
that's right. So it kind of has to have that quality to it too, is it's got to be like it's a short burst kind of thing rather than a prolonged, war. I mean, we're in a long war, you could say, with Scientology, let's say, or with cults. But protests are sort of the battles between, you might have skirmishes and scouting and all the other metaphors or, analogies we can use to military here. But yeah. Then, okay, other reasons. Supporting current members. Seeing ex-members openly protesting can provide moral support to current members who may be having doubts or feeling isolated. I don't know, when I was putting this together, I don't know that I can tell you of a time in my life where I felt more isolated than when I was on the RPF.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? So it was kind of timely to see these protesters out there and see some signage and see some caring from some people. It wasn't all just,
you're a bunch of morons and yeah.
Yeah, there was that. And believe me, not one of those signs helped me as a cult member. Not one of them. But the messages of care and compassion and support, that's what mattered. And that's why I thought today that when Alex said that they were literally standing there saying, "We love you," to the Scientologists, Alex is actually very good at his job. And that was a really, really good tactic. Yeah, there you go. Debbie's comment there on coercive control legislation. But that point of showing care and compassion, I can't, people out here, let me say this, because there's people out here in the wide world, the ex-cult members, who come at this from a variety of places, and I'll get more into this in a bit. But the anger, the hate directed toward cult members, whether it's from ex-members or whether it's from members of the general public, that's the part that only helps the cult.
Yeah.
Right? That's the part that actually helps them. So, so you want to not be doing this from a, vengeful, hateful, angry place. Like I said, we'll get into that more in a minute. It can also help, right, in terms of supporting current members, it can also help educate or plant seeds in the minds of the cult members about things they are not currently aware of or are trying to not know about. See, you're attacking their cognitive dissonance when you're protesting and putting signage up. So you're only going to get one or two shots at reaching those people inside because they're going to tune out real fast. So what can you get across to them, right? Well, if you can confirm to them something they already feel is wrong or bad, but they're kind of already cognitive dissonancing themselves out of it, right? They're justifying it to themselves. In other words, they've already got explanations, but it's weak, and they know it's weak. And some guy comes along with a sign and says, "Hey, man, it ain't right. You're not seeing your family. It's not right. You're not getting paid. It's not right. You don't get any time off." It's confirming what they already know, right? So that can actually be helpful that way. Reason number 3 is preventing recruitment. By sharing their experiences, ex-members can provide valuable insights that can help prevent others from being recruited. This is especially the case on social media, where groups, videos, and meetups can be created or facilitated. But even in live protests, cult recruitment efforts can be exposed for what they are to observers or passerbys, right? I'd love to see sometime a protest of a Church of Scientology out on the street, and somebody brings an e-meter and starts debunking the meter.
Would be awesome.
Right there, right? Or starts doing, the stress tests, and then we figure out what's really going on,
guys. Yeah.
This is what they're going to tell you is going on. This is what's really going on, right? That would be fun. Maybe it would be a useful protest activity. Maybe it wouldn't, but it still would be kind of fun. Okay, number four, healing and closure. Participating in protests can also be a part of the healing process for ex-members, giving them a sense of closure and helping them reclaim their agency. It really cannot be overstated how energizing and exhilarating it can feel to push back publicly against your abuser.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, that's in general with protests, that's sort of what you're doing. Whether it's like you're striking from a job or you're saying to the government, I'm not going to put up with this law you're trying to pass. That's you're standing up to someone and you're saying, I'm not going to put up with this.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Jeff is nailing it there in the comments, right? People want to feel loved, not made wrong and stupid. If you leave, you aren't alone is a very important message. That is absolutely true. In fact, we're going to get to that. It really, so as they like to say, this is a way of taking back your power and making your voice heard, even if the people hearing it don't necessarily want to. Let's be clear that protests are maybe more so for the protesters and their healing or their voice or reclaiming their power than it is about trying to reach people inside. And I think this is a base, at least for me, it's crystal clear that this is how it is. Maybe other people might have different opinions about this as to, the reason or purpose for protests. But as far as I can tell, and as far as I'm concerned, it's really for the protesters. It's about the protesters, about their messaging, and it's about them having some power for once to be able to say something back. And when you're coming out of a group like Scientology, I'm sure some of you can imagine, or for you ex-members out there who know what it feels like to be forcefully silenced, especially over a long period of time, where you just don't have a voice anymore. You thought you did. You're told you do. You read that you do. You see this Scientology creed that tells you have a voice. But you're in a culture and community or world where that voice doesn't matter and nobody wants to hear it. And if you try to use it, you're shut down. And over a long period of time, that wears on a person. That is exhausting to a person's morale and their sense of purpose and meaning and even their own sense of themselves. So it's a big deal. Yeah, there we go. I took back my power today and it felt amazing. There you go. Right? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Last point in terms of my points here. Creating a support network. This happens sometimes. Excuse me. Protests can help ex-members connect with each other and form a supportive community. For instance, there's an effort by former members of cults called Project #IGotOut. Right? That crosses cult lines even, right? Because we all got out. And that's the kind of thing I love to support and get behind is coming out of our little echo chambers and getting into the big one where we really see the bigger problem with cults and manipulation and abusive control that goes on in our society. Once your eyes are opened up to that, you start seeing things through a very, very different lens. Couple other points on this is, remember, it's important to approach this issue with empathy and understanding. Let me see where we're at here.
That's not always easy.
Oh my God, no, it is not, right? As many people in cults are victims of manipulation and undue influence. It is almost uniformly the leadership of these cultic groups who are aware of its abuses and act to cover them up. The usual rank and file are not the same as that. You know, it is a different level of thing to be, you know, the creator and originator and driver of the cult versus, you know, some schmo. It's a different level of responsibility. It's a different level of control, and it's a different level of awareness of what they're actually involved in. Mm-hmm. And this is something that is so easily tossed aside or forgotten about, especially by very angry people. And it needs to not be tossed aside or forgotten about, or you literally reduce the effectiveness of what you're trying to accomplish. And that was not apparently a problem with this UK protest. And I'm telling you, this was the thing I was most afraid of. And I am so happy that it didn't go in that direction. Alex 100% wrangled that and kept it exactly where it needed to be, which was awesome. Violent, incendiary, my last point here, violent, incendiary, and antagonistic tactics are, as far as I'm concerned, reveal a deeper problem with the protester than the thing they are protesting against. And such people should probably avoid public demonstrations or protests, since it only stirs up their negativity and anger, and this will almost inevitably lead to further harmful coping mechanisms, drinking, drugs, etc., and trauma responses and reactions, right? There's nothing wrong. You know, please hear me clearly when I say there is absolutely nothing wrong with having trauma and wanting people to understand that that trauma came from somewhere, and it's not your fault, it's their goddamn fault, and somebody needs to do something about it. There is nothing wrong with that intention. There is an effective way to correct that problem, and then there is an ineffective way to correct that problem. And as far as I'm concerned, it's not really a matter of your right to be angry or upset or violent. Is it effective? Does it help? Or is it just furthering the problem and making things worse? And the fact of the matter is that in any objective analysis of this, as far as I'm concerned, that kind of violent, antagonistic, ridiculing, you know, needling, attack mode kind of protesting just uniformly makes things worse. I've been saying this for years, so it's not really a new message for me. But it's something I wanted to highlight today in talking about this. I really feel strongly about this. I don't have a lot of lines in the sand that I draw when it comes to what I think people should or shouldn't be doing to get over their cult. You know, I don't want to or try to come across like I'm trying to, you know, police behavior or something or take away people's rights, but that's not how I'm thinking about it. I'm not saying you don't have the right to go out and be an asshole. I'm saying if you're being an asshole,
it's not a good idea.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear you. Literally, no one wants to hear you, right? You're a clown show. It becomes a clown show because people are only watching because they want to watch a fight or they want to watch something violent, and they might as well just go watch an MMA fight or something because it's, you know, at least that's a controlled, regulated rules system, right? Chaos and nonsense and all of that in the name of protesting is the exact opposite direction of where you want to go. It will never, ever really get you a positive, effective outcome. That I feel very strongly about that. Okay. So, yeah, Janet sure didn't want to hear us. I'll bet she didn't. Okay, so will Scientology post the event on YouTube or their Clear channel? Probably not. We haven't, as Tony pointed out today, we haven't seen a Scientology event video leak in years now. Wow. They really tackle this stuff. When they have a security issue in the Church of Scientology, they kill it dead. Like, they do not like security issues. And man, do they go all out to shut those leaks down and close them up. So hopefully we will get some inside reporting. You know, we have all got our little people, our little voices in the church right now. If OSA thinks we don't, we do. We've all got them, right? People who call us, talk to us, give us inside skinny and all of that. And our biggest challenge in this creator critic world is not blowing their cover, right? Not endangering them. Because when you're dealing with a cult like Scientology or, other groups, there is danger. This is not, you're not messing around, right? People's lives are, you're messing with people's lives in a significant way. If you out them or something, right? Like that's really bad.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that, right? So we want to protect those sources is all I'm saying. Okay, so yeah, so I don't know that we're going to see the event itself. What we have been seeing is much more easily been leaking out of the church like a sieve for all the way to now are its publications, its magazines, and its sometimes the DVDs and stuff that they send out. So if this IAS event is treated like the golden age of tech events or something, or the basics event where they commemorate it with a special DVD they send out to everybody, then we'll get it, or we'll see it for sure. Otherwise, we'll probably get International Scientology News, which is a publication. I have walked through one or two of those live on this channel for fun, just to kind of, I think a year ago or something, we did something with one of those. So, we'll probably hear or see something about the event from that in the coming weeks or months. We'll cross your fingers and we'll see what leaks. Okay. So I do want to say we've got I don't know. We're in our last 10 minutes. I think we'll just go ahead and say Xenu on the call-in lines tonight.
Right.
Okay. I don't want to put anybody out of sorts there, but we'll just we'll turn that off. I have to set up the phone line at the beginning of the show, so I'm not doing it in the middle here where I have to, set it all up and then I take it off at the end of the show. But I guess we'll just do that now. What if... Well, if psychiatrists were protesting, Chris, then Scientology would probably send out armed guards or something. I mean, you can't trust those psychiatrists any farther you can throw them, right? And a lot of psychiatrists are really... No, I'm not even going to say that. Anyway, you still get advanced mags. Damn, that's amazing. Okay, so so anyway, I guess if we wanted to have any interaction or anything in the last few minutes of the show, we could do that through the comments here. If y'all have any questions or anything, we can cover that. Let's see. Oh, God, I really wish I could just tell you all about all the podcasts coming up. I get so excited about some of the interviews and stuff I do. I don't want to wait for, 2 or 3 weeks to get it out to you guys. There's some good stuff coming. I think you guys are going to like it. Tomorrow, you're going to see another 2-hour chat between me and John Atack. And we finally had our psychedelics talk. Yay! So you're going to hear us talk all about psychedelics, and you're going to hear me sitting right here at this desk a few weeks ago when we did the show, talking about, tripping on acid and psilocybin, because I have done both of those things. So I've made myself illegal, unqualified for the Sea Org. I am no longer qualified to go back into the Sea Org because I have dropped acid. And it was definitely acid. And
it was definitely acid.
Definitely an experience. I actually done it more than once. And it was quite mind-blowing. But I made it clear in the podcast that there is, that there is recreational use of these substances, and then there is therapeutic use. And they're
not the same thing.
Not the same thing. And I have not done therapeutic, right? I've done recreational. And so I can only speak to it from that experience. But hey, experience is experience. And I, being the sort of introspective, overthinking guy that I am, I don't know if I overthink things or not. I jokingly say that. I don't know that I do. I'm looking at my wife like, please tell me I don't. She's just looking at me like, I'm not going to say that.
It depends on the topic.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Anyway, I think that these substances can cause or create or help facilitate an incredible amount of personal insight. Let's put it that way, right? What did you say? What did you tell me years ago? Like we don't have the language to describe.
Yeah, it's like you go into a different type of thinking or way of thinking that you can't really get to unless you're tripping, like,
Yeah.
And that's not to say that regular thinking is bad and tripping thinking is great. It's just, you put different associations together when you're tripping that you don't put together when you're not. It's weird.
Yeah. You have thoughts you don't have words for.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
The experience is an experience and it can be amazing and all that. So, Stuart, yeah, you'll have to catch it on replay, man. It was, we had some fun tonight.
Excellent. I think, psilocybin, I think it's legal to do for therapy stuff in certain cases.
And it's been decriminalized.
So basically, you can grow your own shrooms and you can give them to your friend, but you can't sell them to your friend. You can't buy the fully formed ones. You can only buy the spores and then grow them yourself.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I saw the Michael Pollan. I believe it was his documentary on Netflix.
Oh,
we watched that whole thing on that. Really good work. And Xyan asks, if you're a reg assigned to a big donor and he or she makes a big donation of millions of dollars, do you get, let's say, 10%? Probably not. I think reg commissions were canceled years ago. It goes into the staff pay pool, so everybody gets a piece of the action. Rather than it ending up on one person's paycheck.
Well.
Yeah, right.
That's fair.
And we will do a pre-recorded Q&A this weekend. I'm not planning on going live. Do we have any plans on Sunday? No. Maybe. We'll see.
All right.
It's so much easier in some ways to go live. That's the only reason you see me coin toss on it now, is it's easy to go live, but then there's more work on the back end. So it's 50-50, I guess, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay. So all right, guys, it's been a lot of fun talking to you for an hour here. Check out the podcast, check out the Q&A show on Sunday, and after Scientology, Straight Up and Vertical on Monday, as usual. And we will be carrying on as usual through November, and I will finalize and formalize my takeoff plans and all of that. So I will, right now it's all just thoughts and conjecture and ideas, okay? So we'll see how that solidifies as the weeks roll out through November. But I'm sure I'm taking some time off of some kind. So it's been really great talking with you guys this hour and earlier during the live that we did then. I will see you guys this weekend. Bye-bye.